Recording in progress.
There we go. And Art's already here. Howdy, Art. I don't hear Art.
You don't hear me?
Oh, now I hear you.
Okay. I got the audio cranked all the way up, so
I don't know. You know, Zoom's weird. So.
I I installed the latest version on Monday. So and it ran okay on Monday, so I'm assuming I'm good to go.
So I apparently have a new version that I can install, but I'm not going to right now.
Yeah, it's probably prudent to not install one right at the beginning of a meeting.
Yeah, I'm not. There's no real reason to tempt fate right now.
Well, I don't know that there's any new features, but I hadn't installed a new version since I was left here in May. So I figured that was probably about time. And I had a important Zoom conference on Monday that I didn't want to risk at all. So I installed it, tested it, and knock wood, it worked Monday fine. Meeting didn't go so well, but well, actually it went okay. Any meeting you walk out of, I think, is a good meeting. It's kind of like a car crash, you know.
I didn't see anything that said what the changes were, so maybe there weren't a whole lot of changes. Okay, we got our first meeting scheduled for January 5th. That'd be Thursdays next year.
Okay.
Cool. The Overdrive books include the Linux magazines because they had a yearly copy, a yearly edition of one of the magazines, and also another Linux books. Can't bring those up occasionally to remind people. I got some good Linux books out there, or magazines. European News, free European News. They got on let's see, on Cloud TV. They have France 24, which is in English, which is pretty good if they're not playing football or one of their actors hadn't died. They're pretty decent. And Euronews is also on Cloud TV, and 4 or 5 others. They got Newsmax and One America and all that good stuff. But they do have, and now Cloud TV is free, 64 channels. And then my 60mm camera lens, there's some comparisons for you. This one is at night. There is a full power. And there is the 60mm. Full power is, I think, about 12mm. And there's 60mm there. And then there it is in the daylight. And there is one from a motion. Give you an idea of what it does with motion. The cans are pretty. Also, when you're dealing with this, keep in mind the size that you're doing it in is a big deal. For example, you'd say, well, that's not that great. But if you expand the size of the picture, you can see the printing on the side of the garbage can for something that's sitting still. So the size that you're viewing it in, you don't think about that, but it's a big deal. It really affects the quality. And I got a couple of more. Oh, okay. Frame rate. Now this is some of the adjustments you have. This is iSpy. When you adjust the frame rate of iSpy, you're talking about the turnaround time. You're going to request each individual frame. Each one is requested and you're waiting for it to come back. Whereas you set the frame rate on your camera, that's the frame rate that it's capturing stuff at. So iSpy will allow you, it's requested every time each frame is requested. And then another thing that affects you is the motion detect processor rate. Okay, you got to adjust your motion detect processor rate to meet your frame rate. And that's what I did here. There's a frame rate of 16, shown there is 16. That's an iSpy. This is how you set the frame rate. If you go to camera and you set the maximum frame rate, and it'll try to maintain that frame rate. And then on the motion detection side, you got to set the process rate. And so that's going to be the reciprocal of the frame rate. So 5 frames per second would be 20 milliseconds. Processing.
5 frames per second would be 200 milliseconds.
Excuse me. Okay. And since we're going at a multiple of 5, the calculation is actually done later on in this document. And so there's another, that's the 60 millimeter lens, and you can see in daylight, you can see the label, and probably expand that, you can almost read it. So 16 frames per second is 62.5 milliseconds. And I set it to 62, and it works pretty good. I was surprised. Now this is where you might need a Leroy processor versus my 4 i7 CPU, but at 60 it's okay. If you go much tighter than 60 though, it will start dragging you down. But I do have some room. But that's an amazing frame rate. For requesting every frame. And here's a comparison. Red truck in my driveway, lady stopped by to bitch about a dog that was in the road. I helped her write a note to the neighbors. And there's a difference in there. The top one is full power, a 12 millimeter. And the bottom one is 60 millimeter. So you can see, actually, you really can't see because the frame is so small here, you don't realize the picture is much better than it looks. Oh, crap, I forgot about that. We can expand this on a big screen and you can actually read the license plate. So remember that when you're trying to read license plate, you got to expand it on the screen that you're on. Because that's a 4 megapixel camera there.
What kind of a camera is it?
That one there is a real link. That's a real link 4 power zoom. And this bottom one is a 2 megapixel. with a 60mm lens. And you can expand that out and you can see the name of the license plate holder. it's it's pretty bad. Yeah. So you can that black section right above the number, that has the name of this car sales company on it. So you get the difference there. So the megapixels of the camera is significant, but not tremendously significant. And that may be it. That may be it. So the lens is a big deal.
Yep.
I realized the lens was not going to fit in your camera. We're going to have to take the cover off and let it poke out.
Will you have some kind of a case around the camera so that you're restricted in front of the lens?
Well, this is the one that the new lens is on is a bullet camera. I showed it to you guys the other day. It's a bullet camera and it has a round top around the lens part. So you screw the lens off, the cover off, the glass cover, metal screw with a glass plate. So you just take that off. And I had to take the top board off before I could, because my lens was so big. I had to take the top board off because the hole through the infrared lamp board was too big. So I had to take that board off. And it didn't work anyway, so it wasn't. That's why I was using it as a throwaway. And so then I just screwed the new lens in and it works fine. You can't put the cover back on, but it works fine. It's that one's on the porch, so it's not really subject to the weather. It's been there for 6 months. If it goes bad, I got 3 others. Same type. But in fact, I've got another a 5-megapixel real length where I'm saving. I might have to use it, and that would be nice. That'd be more than doubling my number of pixels with the same lens. But I'm doing okay with this. And you're going to end up with a similar problem, but the resolution should improve significantly.
So can you put the 60mm lens on that?
Should be able to. They typically use the M12 turret size. Just about all of them do. The trick is to get. This is a huge lens compared to the original. Yeah, I may end up having to take the light board off, the LED board off, like I did the other one. Or we'll see. But I've got a couple of other SJ5Cs that I could use with that lens. But it's kind of like when you have a bunch of junk sitting around. Leroy asked me, are all those cameras on your desk connected? Well, I know, Leroy. That's my scrap pile.
That's the scrap pile.
Yeah. They changed. Like those street cams were good cameras and they're decent in their day, but the rear links just hit their butts because the compression is it's a different world. When we get the H.265 compression, where bandwidth just shrinks to nothing and you can run anything on nothing. I could run everything on 2.4 gigahertz, which is amazing because I had 2.4 jam before. I couldn't get anything else, and now I got plenty of room. And you can see up at the corner, the real links will give you the throughput. and you'll see, it's like 200 kilobits per second, or 2,000 kilobits per second. It's ungodly small. So that compression really helps. And now I see how it works these days with all those channels. They're using like 265 or something equivalent to it. What's going on in California, Art? If, you don't know, do you?
Still no rain. They're forecasting a couple inches of rain in the South Bay in the next couple of days, but we haven't gotten any rain, and otherwise everything seems copacetic. I go over the cameras, several times a day just to make sure that nothing's amiss, and I've got some new motion detectors I'm testing out in our absence, and I'm getting mixed results. I bought several different brands or a couple of different brands, and I got one that works pretty well, but I got two that if I weren't past the 30 days, I would send back. So, but they're not very expensive. These are PIR, and they operate at 433.92 megahertz. So they take up very little bandwidth, and I just write the output in JSON records to file on a server, and they're not very big. So, I could accumulate the next 100 years and it wouldn't use up the disk space. So at any rate, so in California, to the best of my knowledge, everything is cool. The air quality has maintained itself. Apparently there's no major fires this fall, knock wood. And we just keep going ahead. So meanwhile, I've got an interesting question, or maybe it's not interesting to you, but the area I live in, Terrace Ridge here in North Union Township, south of Milford, this development is all natural gas heating. However, I'm running, I don't know if you're familiar with RTL_433, which is a package that captures the 433 megahertz packets and stores them in JSON. So I started seeing some stuff. One of the things about capturing any RF data is that it doesn't stop at your lot line. So I've got a whole bunch of IoT devices that I monitor with this technique, but I also have a lot of stuff from apparently my neighbors. And I started getting a bunch of messages for an oil tank level measurement. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but they have ultrasonic, apparently on these big oil tanks they use for fuel oil, they have an ultrasonic sonar, if you will, device that sits in the top of the tank, bounces off the liquid level in the tank, and outputs a number that tells you how full your tank is.
That should sound familiar to you.
So at any rate, so nobody in Terrace Ridge is running on oil. Everybody's running on natural gas. So I'm wondering where these things are come from. Now it's kind of this is a development which is shot down in the middle of a relatively rural area, but not completely rural. I mean, they're large lots, like multi-acre lots, but the houses outside the development. So I'm wondering, does this mean that all those people are running with oil tanks with fuel oil? Is that fairly common in this part of the country?
Typically where there's not natural gas, but like where I am, we just about all of them have gone.
Say again?
Typically in our area, we have natural gas. If you have that, most of the area, like in where I live, the oil tanks are gone. I had a propane tank connection on my house, but it's, 40 years old, and they didn't have natural gas at that time. Anybody that's got natural gas is not going to use fuel oil if they have.
Well, but from what I'm seeing of this this recording, and I record every JSON time. In other words, it's every time a packet comes by. And I'm getting these at the rate of, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 an hour or something like that.
That's a lot.
Now, the typical setup is, I've learned more in the last 24 hours about fuel oil than I care to know about, but apparently these things typically send out a message once an hour to tell you what your oil level is, which means that if I'm getting 20 or 30 of these things an hour, I assume that means there's 20 or 30 of my not so near neighbors who have got these sensors things. So you're saying that most of the oil tanks have gone away?
Yeah, around here, I don't know of one.
Huh.
I don't think we use for fuel oil anymore.
Well, Leroy, is your heating on natural gas?
It's gas, yes.
Okay. Well, I found this amazing, and I have been looking at the data and looking at the data and accumulating the data and so forth and so on, trying to figure out where all this is coming from.
How do you identify that it's fuel oil? Is that in the header of the packet?
What I can identify is the sensor that's sending out the 433.92 megahertz packet. And when I look online at that sensor is used in oil tanks.
Gotcha.
So,
Because we have natural gas.
Can't hear you.
We have natural gas at our house, and we also have, electric meter, and both of those have the meter, which sends out an electrical signal to the utility companies. But if this is specific to an oil tank, it wouldn't make sense, would it?
No, that's my thinking.
My thought was maybe they're reusing the sensors for something.
Well, it's possible that's the case. I mean, all I know is that I see these packets that I can identify as this particular sensor. However, I didn't find any place online where they said, well, we also use this sensor for
or
blah,
whatever.
blah, blah, whatever it is.
Water,
Yeah. I would think that maybe there's septic system or something that people are monitoring their water levels. But
Okay.
well, who knows? I mean, you know, when I was playing around with that RTL 433 software, some of the stuff when I was looking it up, it wasn't what I thought it should be. I mean, the numbers I was seeing weren't what the website said it should be, you know what I mean? So I don't think maybe the website's not complete. Or maybe
Well,
or maybe they're reusing the sensor for something.
I don't know. All I know is that the protocol, you know how these things work. Basically, you've got a carrier wave, and then you have a series of pulses that are interpreted into binary, and then that gets decoded into, depending on the binary, that gets decoded into some kind of a message, a JSON message. And the JSON messages clearly decode as this sensor. So
I don't have
the
it.
thing is, I couldn't think of any way you would take this sensor, which is basically a thing, oh, I don't know, twice the size of a hockey puck that sits in a hole in the top of the tank. And then there's a pigtail that goes off to a little transmitter. And then the idea is that someplace in your house, you have a receiver and it receives this update on the oil level in the tank. And I couldn't think of any way you could use that in anything else. Septic system, your septic system wouldn't normally go up and down that much, I wouldn't think. I would hope not. You know,
Just a thought. Could they use those sensors on like semi trucks?
I suppose they could.
The tankers on the big tankers?
I suppose they could. I don't know. I sit up at the hill here from 275, and it's line of sight from us.
I really think you get a lot of. I really think you get 20 or 30 of them though. But
yeah. I presented a project I did last week where I hooked up a sonar sensor to my cell phone. And it monitors the level of my cell phone constantly.
Yeah.
That's a minute.
Is this ultrasonic?
It is. It's sonar. Yeah, ultrasonic. Yeah, it would be ultrasonic. This is a little tiny, basically on a chip. It's not the same as what you're describing, like a hockey puck though. And it doesn't send out a packet. You have to send the signal to it to initialize it to send a return echo signal back. And then
so it's a transponder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same idea though. It's an ultrasonic looking at a water level or a liquid level.
Yeah, I was wondering if
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that would make sense.
houses that might have a backup cell phone may use something like that, although I would think they use a float. I have a backup float trigger also. But yeah, it's interesting.
I can't imagine what they would use a sensor that would be for oil.
These things are not inexpensive because I looked them up online and they're they're a few $100s.
Yeah. You got some gas stations around you?
The nearest gas station as the crow flies is probably 2 miles away.
I mean, it's low power, but maybe.
Actually, now that I think about it, the nearest gas station is the UDF, which is at the corner of Chambers and 450.
They might be reading the tank levels with those things.
I suppose, but they're reading it awfully frequently. Hey, Vicente.
When I was a teenager, I worked at a gas station. We had to go and manually read them, but I know they've got tank sensors now that they'll tell you all kinds of stuff. And I think they read them constantly. I think they know exactly what's inside those tanks.
So in other words, when you take 10 gallons of gas out of a pump, they basically know that you remove 10 gallons of gas from the tank.
Within a very small percentage of certainty, yes.
Huh. Well, I don't know. This is a mystery. And I looked online, and all of the usual suspects, Google and so forth and so on. Couldn't find anything. Found all kinds of stuff on these oil tank things. It turns out they're widely used in Europe still. So apparently there must be a lot of, particularly in the UK, must be a lot of homes that are still oil heated. But
do you use fuel oil for heating at your house? Fuel oil. No,
It's natural gas, right?
no. That Sensei doesn't use it either. So
okay.
nobody knows why you see what you see.
Okay, well, I will. I've thought about setting up a little Raspberry Pi with the SDR receiver, so I could go and do 433.92 megahertz war driving and see if I could drive around the neighborhood and see where the signal got higher and the signal got lower and stronger and weaker.
Where do you get a couple of Yagis out there?
What, I'm sorry?
Get a couple of Yagi antennas or dipoles and zero in on them.
Yeah, the antenna I'm using right now is a straight ground plane vertical and omnidirectional. So I have no idea from where this is coming.
My guess would, my strong suspicion would be it's a gas station, but
Okay.
This is Vicente. Yes, right.
Mark, that's Art.
Hey, Art.
Art, he was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And a couple of years ago, and maybe a couple of decades.
You were on a plane when he was here, so. Are you in California?
Well, I have a home here in Milford and I have a home in Fremont, California.
Yes,
I spend about half the time in each place. I'm officially a resident of California. I've been for 43 years.
I was born in Santa Barbara, but my parents kidnapped me and brought me back to Ohio when I was 2.
That's interesting. So you've never been to UC Santa Barbara?
My father went to Brooks Institute.
Went to what?
Brooks Institute of Photography in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time working out there. I worked for Cincinnati Military. There's a lot of aerospace contractors all up and down Palmdale and Chico.
Yeah, that's Southern California for the most part.
Yeah.
Santa Barbara is about, I don't know, 250, 300 miles south of where we live.
Okay. still nice.
Fremont is a Silicon Valley city, if you will. It sits on the southeast corner of San Francisco Bay, just a little bit of north of San Jose.
We're living in California here, actually.
Kind of neat things.
Oh, this is mine. It just arrived. I ordered an upgrade from fiber optics, Cincinnati Bell, what's it called? Alta Fiber now. And they bumped my internet speed from 50 up to 250. And they left this piece of junk router. Yeah, I guess you can put them all. Yeah, it works fine. And getting the signals nice and strong, but my son does a lot of backups and things off my network. And you can't program this thing unless you use a smartphone. It's got a very basic menu on it. So I'm going to throw it in the can and replace it with this one. I hope it's decent. Asus. It got good reviews for having a wide range in the house, and it's got the same technology. If the signal's not strong, you can make a nest. And but it's able to be programmed through an Ethernet interface. Yeah, and I can set MAC filtering and port forward.
Which model is it?
It's the AX55.
I'm sorry, say again.
RT AX55.
Okay.
It's a low end. I think their high end is AX3000. But it's supposed to have the same technology, Wi-Fi 6. So we'll see. I'll report back and let you know. If I got Asus and really,
Yeah, I'm sure, I think, Steve has Asus.
okay, good to know.
Yeah, good, sir. They're good, and they give you updates. Well, except mine, somewhere update, mine's too old, I guess. But they seem good software, good, reliable.
Okay, thanks for that. I was leaning toward Netgear had some, and I don't know, but this one kind of came out on top when I looked at some of the video reviews of it.
Can I see the Google thing?
Yeah. I guess Google merged or bought the company called Nest.
Yeah.
And that some of them were called Google. It was called Google Nest, but that was confusing. So they called it Google now or something. But anyway.
Yeah, the Asus routers are pretty reliable. Unless you want to go to something quite a bit more expensive, like say Ubiquity equipment, and then you really got to open up the bank vault there. But
I wanted to keep it under 100. It's not over at least.
Ubiquity doesn't sell anything under 100.
Oh, I have another project.
That's just funky.
I know it is. I was really disappointed when it came. This was my other project. I learned how to use the 3D printer. Down the hall there. And I cheated, or it was easy. That part gets a Ford. I bought a Ford Maverick pickup truck. And they have a technology called the FITS. I forget what it stands for, something about integrated, but you can it's a standard attachment point where you can hook in dividers or cup holders or coat hangers or garbage bag hangers or things like that, and they all fit in the same FITS slot. Well, on the console, the center console, there's an empty one of those, and it's just open. So somebody published the the STL file for just the dummy plug. That'd be a nice little project, so. Sure enough, I brought the STL file and she showed me how to import it into their, CAM package. It's the slicer program. And, then it interfaces, you just plug it into that printer and sit there for 45 minutes and watch it go. And the model is just the form of it, but I was surprised that the slicer did ask you, well, do you want it to be solid or hollow? And there's a honeycomb inside there, half of it's there, but I mean, that's just amazing me. Coming from the machine tool, the metal cutting business, there's no way you can make that and be hollow on the inside, in one operation like that. It just blows me away. Anyway, I had fun doing that this week. Not electrical, but.
So we all own 3D, well. Everybody owns 3D.
No, I don't.
Jim doesn't.
I
But if you need something, I mean, Steve has one, I've got.
Well, and all you have to do is pay for the material. In fact, if you just generate the STL file, you can sit there at your home and publish it and give them a form and they'll make it for you. You just come and pick it up. I like to watch it do it. Yeah.
I should have bought them because I've been meaning to bring the SAL things that I've been doing. Keep forgetting to grab them off the shelf.
What's that?
The SAL resin. It's a resin printer. And it's slow. But
So does that shine a light and harden the resin inside? Yeah, they have one like that there too.
they got one.
This was the string. The film string, yeah. But I used PETG because she said if it's inside your car and if you heat up, the standard one, ABS is too soft, I guess.
I melted some PLA inside the car.
85 degrees.
Yeah, it got hot inside the car and I looked over and went, oh, it melted. Hey,
Well, I think, who was the gentleman that had that, two-wheel robot, with the camera on it? I saw that on your webpage. Maybe that was a while back.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Years ago. Anyway, I thought he said he made parts of his robot with 3D printers. So.
That's why a lot of us have 3D printers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a lot of them in this group. Yeah.
What kind do you have?
All mine are generic
Okay,
because
you made them?
no,
Kids?
no, I bought them from Micro Center, but they're 3 of them are essentially what they've got, just open.
Cruiser.
Yeah, open frame, i3s. You've got an actual Prusa, right? And I think Steve has an actual Prusa.
And a nice job, and they don't look to be all that expensive.
Well,
You don't join the rates.
mine was, of course, they're more expensive now because inflation, but mine was $100. And I think the Prusas were 700 at the time.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
but I would bet money. I would put one of mine against that, and I bet money you couldn't tell the difference.
Probably not.
They're pretty much the same. But I've got those are the mono price. They're the generic Micro Center brand copy clones. And then I've got a mono price. I don't remember what it is, but it's basically a flash forge. And it's an inventor, it's a dual, so I can do 2 colors.
And what CAD software do you use to generate files?
See the i3s, I use Cura. And the flash forge I use, it has its own software, just called flash forge, yeah.
I downloaded, FreeCAD. And it looks pretty damn powerful. And I've gone through a few of the tutorials. But,
Yeah,
it looks like similar to the AutoCAD, product that they used to use where I work.
you're talking about the CAD file. I just,
Yeah,
use,
Well, you can have the AutoCAD 360,
yeah,
that's person use, please.
Really?
Yeah. I have it,
Uh,
20 years ago.
Okay.
I use Tinkercad online.
Okay.
But and then I find most of my models on Thingiverse, so
Yeah.
I don't design a whole lot of my own stuff.
I was figuring, you take some part off the refrigerator or something, you're gonna have to model it first and then.
Yeah,
But when,
I've fixed quite a few things around the house, but I just didn't want to go to the store and buy the part. Oh yeah, I could do that. You need this, okay, there. 15 minutes later, it prints out. You've got an SLA. You don't really use yours, do you?
My son, so he's you know. I never opened the box. I bought the UV tour, I think, and washing
Yeah,
stuff, and then to clean them.
Yeah.
That goes. Yeah.
I like it, except that thing gives me a headache.
I think it's good, it's actually pain, but it's not strong enough.
the smell?
Oh yeah, it's pretty nasty. I've been working on somewhere. I'm trying to build a fume extractor just to get rid of because that UV.
I can use a water base.
Oh, it's still nasty. Yeah, that's what I bought. I bought the water-based one, and it. I have to open the door up and have a fan blowing against it to try to push the fumes up.
Why do you like that over a phone? Is it more accurate?
It is definitely not quicker. The resolution on it's better though. You see how you've got the lines?
Yeah.
Most of the, in fact, all of the prints are, there's no lines, it's smooth. It's really, they're really good if you want to do like figures or spaceships or something with a lot of little detail in it.
You print space or spaceship, man.
No, I don't do that. Why would I do that?
Star Trek guy.
Why would I have spaceship? They are by such a is right. They are like kind of brittle. So they're not, you print it, you put it on a stand and you leave it alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it wet when it comes out?
Yeah.
Is it a bath?
Yeah. So, mine's a smaller model, pretty much the same thing that they cut down there, only it's the print area is yay big instead of yay big. You knock it off into a water bath. You let it soak in the water bath, and you wear gloves because you don't want to get the resin on your skin. And reach your hand in and you shake it out and try to get all the loose resin off. And then you set it up and you let it dry, and then I don't have the UV curing station. I just set it out on the porch and let the sun cure it. And halfway through the curing time, I go and I flip it over and let the sun cure the other side.
Okay.
So
So that's what the laser is. It's UV,
Yeah.
light that cures the residue.
Those, the ones like what we've got and what the library has, it's kind of a cell phone screen in it without one of the layers on it, so you get the UV light off of it, and then it projects the picture, and it projects like the image, and that kind of cures that area, and then it goes and raises it up just a little bit, and keeps going. So it actually prints upside down, prints backwards and upside down. And then when it comes out, it's right. And if it's got a flat area like that one does, you could put pretty much flat right on the build plate. But if it's got any kind of contours or curves, you need stands on it.
Yeah, that's what you told me about in there. If I had printed it like that.
Put some stands on it. But that's the with that the way it works, you got to have the stands on it, and then it comes up off of the build plate a little bit, and that has caused me a couple of problems when I was learning how to make it work, because I actually got it print and the stands all printed really nice, and then it started to print the thing, and the spaceship got too heavy and fell off and ended up in the vat of resin. I was like, oh. Yep. Well, by that time you're already 2.5 hours in, because it took that long to print the stands, and I was just like, no.
How expensive is that? Really?
I think it's $25, $26, something like that, and half a liter, yeah. And I've gotten a bunch. I've gotten a bunch. I've still got probably a quarter of it left, and I've printed a lot of stuff.
They sell this by the grand. I don't know how long it was, but it cost me 95 cents.
Yeah.
That was worth it.
You can buy the film, and the film it's $20, 100.
I made an appointment because I had never done it, and they need to train you or whatever. Now supposedly, since I'm certified, I can just bring a.
Just email it.
Well, they said they're certifiable, and I can go in with a thumb drive and take my file in there, as long as it's less than 2 hours of print time. If it's more than 2, then they want you to reserve the machine
Well,
it's only took 45 minutes.
like I said, if you've got a print that's going to take a while, there's plenty of us that have 3D printer,
Okay.
and sure one of us can
Yeah, well,
do it.
I don't have a project yet, but I probably need more help with the CAD and the tricks on how to position it and stuff like that. Good to know. Another tutorial.
I remember using to use the data, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I sit in the AutoCAD and I spend like an hour or two just remember everything.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to stick with one package. When I was still working, I know I had downloaded a free version. Maybe it was the AutoCAD. I thought it was called Autodesk or something. Yeah.
But then we changed the license to something. But so I found
The old
together that you can ask for a maintenance license and we can Reviewing the number of files without at the same time in the screen. Don't feel so. I use one time, so.
Yeah, one thing about this FreeCAD, not that I would ever use it, but it's got a finite element analysis package that does dynamics and static.
And asking me was the several screens, remember, which buttons.
I want that ball drive that I showed everybody last week. I want to print one of those so bad. I want to play around with that
You said last week, that brings up a question.
online.
Yeah, because I came here, nobody was here.
Did you read the email?
Yeah, the Automation Technology website. Apparently, the last meeting update announcement was October 1st.
We moved, everything.
There's another one called Meetup or something like that. That one actually has Meetup at the library, so I. I mean, so if somebody. Did you have it?
Yeah.
So, and next year, first of the year, we're going back to Thursdays. Okay. This year
Is it crucial for the meeting, right?
I didn't know.
Okay, let's see.
You got my own email.
I think I do.
Sure, I'm just sure.
And you'll just roll them back.
Yeah, because if you do it online, you have to send me the link too, I guess.
The meeting announcement has the links to everything.
Yeah, the meeting announcement will say in person or online or I think it says virtual, doesn't it?
Too.
But we switched to Wednesdays for this year because there was a conflict with the room on Thursday. And now we're going back to Thursday, which is cool.
Jim, before I started coming, and I just reached out to you and you emailed me back. I got a few emails from you about when the meeting was, but.
Yeah, 2013, I got a note saying that email address is incorrect. mag.is.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, well, let's get your correct email address then. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
It's the Gmail one, yeah. He sent me a few things.
Okay. I'd have to, yeah, let me look it up then. For the mail.
We should be good for a live for
Oh, here it is.
in-person meeting next week, but the following week I need to stay at home.
So to the end of the year, I just said the note says, our meeting last week was, hey, we're going to Thursday, probably next year's, and Wednesdays this year, and every other or something, and read your meeting announcement before you do anything.
And he
I didn't get that.
I thought, so you got anything. And people are getting like 15 minutes more than me, right? Okay, let's see. Okay, now you're in there. You're in the distribution list.
Better send him a test message just to make sure.
I've already sent him one, but let me see, okay, that's good. Yep. You're good. I sent it to the distribution list and you're on the distribution list, except now you have an email, a real email. Before you didn't have one, because I got this email is no longer valid. I moved it out. That was in 2013 is.
Yeah, because when you email, what happened, you got bought twice since back. And I'm not retired.
So cool. But you'll be on the list now, so.
Okay.
I sent it out, usually send it out yesterday or today.
I think he said it was.
Yeah, today before noon, about noon. So pay attention whether it be live. And we do open this thing up at 5 and try to get everything.
Oh, okay.
We open at 5, the official meeting starts at 5:30. And this morning I got to jump on it. Then I ran into something on real link cameras. That's what I do now. I don't do a lot of stuff these guys do. I mainly take the cameras. And you hit the plus button to add a camera. And it's a selected camera, so it'll pick up a camera. Not a speaker, no camera. Yeah. I mean, do I get, well, the last two I got, I paid like $47 for. The camera I fix this. I paid $700 for two. Yeah.
Those are used?
Yeah. Both of them in perfect condition. And a new one was about $46. I got two of them, yeah, I got two of them. And I've had with the E1 Pros, that I haven't had an issue with any of them.
Yeah, I'd say that really. I appreciate it. I'll give you the chance.
Yeah, so but everybody does their own thing and like I don't do Linux, and I'll participate a little bit and get the Linux news. This week in the meeting announcement, we got magazines here on Overdrive. The Linux Open Systems annual issue is available on Overdrive. And I tried to tell them Steve's Linux and these guys do Linux. Which whatever does when it's like me. Everybody here loves Linux and hates Windows except me, and I hate everything. I hate Windows and I hate Linux. I hate Windows. But anyhow, on Reolink software to add a camera on this, and they have a Windows software too, which they can have. And it's good, it's pretty good. And I noticed that over here beside it, you can do cloud because I saved for the cloud too. And you can do IoT. So you know what that means. They're going to let you alarm to the IoT. I just noticed the IoT like a week ago. So, and it says, it didn't see how I was set up to talk to the IoT devices. So I'll bet you I can get to my IoT devices so I can use it as an output at least and possibly an input. So that ought to be interesting now, though, wake some people up and get the IoT from your camera, from your cheaper camera.
Exactly. IoT.
Internet of Things.
Yeah, I knew that, but was that a standard interface or something? When you say
When you so can you see an IoT device? And there are some standards, standard vendors, but generally, if they talk to Google and they talk to Alexa, you can get to it.
Okay.
You just go find it. Yesterday, I was told in the background, rice, those slides that comes in. If you got that, 48 birds. And I use connecting to Alexa. And can say, Alexa, partner on 50%. Now I say, Alexa, partner 10. Alexa, partner 50. Yeah. She just changed.
My wife has told me that I have become lazy because I finally found a use for one of my Wi-Fi outlets. I plugged in the Christmas tree so I could turn it on and off.
My house also.
And
She goes, that's what again, we installed it, and there is yeah, Alexa, turn on the TV. I don't do this crap, but I've got them and I use them and they have a timer built in and you just say, let's say I do a timer on this one. And start time, end time. And you can link to your super camera now. And my table lamp is connected to it and I use this to do it. I told her, I was outside, I finally found an actual use for the outlet. And I showed her and she goes, you're lazy. And you can put the timer in it too, just so that I put the device and say, yeah, I was like,
When you say outlet, I mean, this thing would be like a less.
it's about that big around. About that.
yeah, mine's an old.
I mean, part and center.
110. So just plug it in, it's got a little button on the side, you can manually turn it on and off. And you can talk to it, you connect to it via Wi-Fi. And then you can buy a Google box, or you can buy Amazon, or you can use my phone. I use my phone, I don't even have one. Right, and stuff, and usually they use what is that software that is an app. Yeah. So you install that. Connect to your Wi-Fi number, use the button of the device, and your app try to discover the device. And you just activate it, and then you go to Alexa, for example, and Alexa has directory that says skills, or something, skills. There mine, table lamps, the battery in the barn, but I periodically have a timer on. The battery and lights.
I was at a garage sale one year, 4 or 5 years ago. Guy had a whole set of them, $3 for the whole set. And I said,
So,
okay, never found anything to use them with.
Not that I'm trying to say. 4, 6.
But today I was like, yeah. They look good. And yeah, this is an older model, but who cares?
The same one I have.
Yeah, same one.
So I got a timer on that and I can manually turn it on and off.
Yeah, I could tell Google to turn it off at 11 o'clock.
You can go on instead of.
Yeah. Yeah, or whatever, but it was just funny. I've been looking for something to use those things for years, and I finally find something, and now I'm lazy. I can't go up and unplug my Christmas tree anymore. I've got, I think I've got like 4 or 5 more of those. I mean, the guy had a box of them, and I said $3 a piece, and he goes, no, the $3 for all of them. Go, thank you.
Even Kenny is less technical than me, and he's got one. Dang. Can you make them? So I had to get one. I had to make the one up on my phone, just ask them. All right. So we have all levels. With these guys, we have some pretty heavy. Well, he's a pretty heavy frog. He's a pretty heavy frog. I do any 555 and 7400 and stuff like that. That's where I am. And I'd never run Linux. I've used a couple of Linux machines since associating with each crazy people, and run back to Windows saying, "Take me back. I hate you." But I'm interested in, and I see the all these crap, all this crap.
Yeah.
These stupid IoT things, I'm sure, are Linux. underneath.
Embedded Linux is probably running on them somewhere.
But usually they are about, you can get them for $6 or $7 a piece. I use Tuga. It's a Chinese brand, but it's a standard. Tuga, the software is Tuga software that you saw there. There's some standard for them. Yeah, or something. Very, Amazon, they have an agreement with another companies. They will use the same protocols or something. So everything will be interoperated.
Yeah.
There's a name for that, and then Tuga is a member. In fact, I put this in, and I put in a little stupid alarm system in the barn, and the darn thing was picked up by this. And I'm like, crap. Wow. So now my barn software also talks to Tuga's devices. I'm like, gee, this is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what that new thing is.
There are some standards.
It was only a matter of time. I mean, sooner or later, everything has to talk to everything. Just.
I think it's better to tell everything.
Yeah. Well, and Amazon and Google.
Services over the standard, so no services, no companies, no.
You got Amazon and Google are the two big players, but you've got Roku and you've got other smaller players in the space too. So everybody has to eventually decide we're all going to play nice together.
The question is, when does it happen?
It's happening sooner than later, but it's taken forever for them to get to the point to realize that they need to play nice.
Smart home is what I think is one of them.
Smart home is, I'm pretty sure that's still a major project.
What project?
It was started as a alternative to Google or Alexa.
Okay, well, see, we don't want Google or Alexa to be the standard. We want to be a standard product that everyone can be.
But I think smart home was started as you replace the firmware on your Google device or something with the smart home firmware.
So Tuga is one of a member of smart home, and there are a bunch of them. And it looks like they've got everything. Yeah, it's not a standard or matter. It's not some standard that enables. Oh, okay.
See, smart home is
Matter. Okay, matter will be their smart home standard. Matter is the standard. Oh, okay.
smart home is a small player in the space.
Okay. So when I look for them, I look for Tuga and it was their smart CD. Maybe I don't know, we make it easier. We are doing Amazon or I do smart home. Okay. Would be. Okay. They're, it looks like they're, and I've seen it with a Tuga. This is 5 days ago. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, and they need to do it. And good. And it's really easy to do. You know, that it's not a. It's not home, it's not a. Oh, cool. I'm sure they will be the cameras also. Understand.
This thing came, in order to talk to it, I had to learn something called Google Home.
Yeah,
That's part of
that's typical for setting up Google devices. So, yeah, if you got a Chrome, what do they call them? Chromecast. Use home. Yeah.
Okay.
But you use IoT and home and
There's all my good stuff. Oh, that's my Christmas tree. Turn it on it. But I can look at your one. I could, it's already on. I could look at the front door or. We've got the Nevo smart display that puts pictures, switches movies around. And then my two Roku TVs.
I think that this is standard with the solutions. Yeah, because people don't know, you have to choose numbers. There is no number.
That was part of the problem, right? Early on, your device either had to be compatible with Amazon or it had to be compatible with Google.
Now there's no problem.
Now there's not a problem.
They sent me that text message again. I've never did too.
Oh, okay, you want the move, okay,
Well, that is the second, just to make sure.
okay.
I think, as more device manufacturers came on board and more device manufacturers said, no, we need to be compatible with both Amazon and Google. Amazon and Google started to realize, okay, maybe we need to make it easier to be more compatible.
I mean, it's affordable. You can hide it in the basement, but put it in the humidity and the temperature of the basement. But it's working since 7 years ago. Well, I moved to the basement. I'm feeling finishing without this. Every 10 minutes. Last worst. Since 25. I mean,
Yeah.
I use a thing speak.
Things speak. Yeah.
I have like a 10 accounts that were free. Now you have to pay for that. And the two ones are free. All right.
They're making you pay for them now?
Yeah. You cannot change them or something, but I remember I registered a lot of things. I got for that. I am using it.
I know, what is it, IFFT? No, IFTT. If this, then that. IFTTT. I used to have a bunch of stuff set up with them, and then they went to a paid thing, and now you're only allowed three free things, yeah.
Oh, good.
I just made the account 2 years ago. Yeah, and there is an average in the web.
Yeah.
You can see the values of those who work for that.
Yes,
So I just mailed it to you, and that's the address that's in our distribution list.
yeah.
It hasn't happened yet.
Is that the cheapest?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Now we're. Thank you.
And there is a Wix forum that we have been using for general information. Leroy puts links and stuff in it sometimes, and little projects. If we have something we want to talk about, we'll talk about it in the meeting, and we'll come in, and if somebody wants to see about it, and I'll throw something up there if I want to talk something interesting. We'll throw it, and I'll throw something up there.
This is our,
But it's free, and
this is the forum page.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That is not the right.
Oh, it's not.
No.
you have any, well, mine
This is the one that. We used to look at, right? We don't use that one.
no, that's ancient history. Yeah.
Yeah.
We changed. Oh, well, yeah, well, dang, I didn't get rid of all the links.
Yeah, and what about this,
Yeah, still use that. I gotta update that. If you look at it now, it says, check your email meeting announcement to verify. The people here, most people here don't use this thing, I think, you know, most of it goes through that. And me, it was a big trap. We got a couple of guys from that and one of the events, he showed up at one of Leroy's events, club events. What event was that, Leroy?
I believe that was probably Star Wars Day.
No, it wasn't Star Wars, it was,
Yeah, out here at Star Wars Day in Vicente showed up at Star Wars Day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to meet this guy. Oh, no. This way in Iowa. Yeah, it's hard to remember.
This is the website.
Driving his truck with a picture of his office in the back.
Gotta go to talk. Gotta go to Tulsa. No big deal. Well, I mean, it's. What's going on, Mr. Ray?
Mediclinic urgent care open today. Open today.
And he's just spreading like a bad disease.
A lot.
Look back. So if you need something laser cut,
Laser grade. Yeah.
that's the man right there.
I also have some woodworking tools, toys.
And 3D printers.
That's what you got it one. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Robert Lake USA.
That's right.
And then maybe some other day I'll come in with a Mediclinic shirt. Or a collar shirt or hat shirt or something. Or a lock shirt. So, yeah. No, things are going pretty good. Just a lot of work. I've been sick for like 2.5, 3 weeks. It was bad enough that I stayed home. Believe it or not, I actually.
There would be an explosion and.
Yeah. I got me in the car accident when I got out. The only jacket was helping direct traffic around my car and helping with other police officers. That was so fun. That's how much I don't want to sit down.
They're getting a clue that if something's happening, Ray's probably somewhere around.
So Ray's sick, you know he's really
So I
sick.
was sick. Yeah.
What did you do this time, Ray? Yeah, well, you did your foot or what did you do?
Like 4 weeks ago, I was playing soccer with a bunch of 9-year-olds and adults, and I didn't want to land on top of one of these kids. So as I'm going down, I actually brought my feet together. I just landed just on my face, and I sprained both wrists, and then I messed up my chin and stuff. And then it was like less than a week later, I started coughing really bad and got sick. And Carol was like, "Well, you'll get over it. You never do this. Can't do that." And I was like, "No, I got home." And she's like, "What?" I'm going home. I feel bad. I'm going home. And there was like 4 days. I didn't even leave my room. I didn't not feeling good. Tired. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't the flu, but you can probably still hear it a little bit.
We called for 4 days and the chest was sore.
It really didn't even start coughing until like the 4th day.
Yeah.
And then it was like the cough wouldn't go away for less than 2 weeks. So, but now I'm getting better. Not coughing nearly.
I had that. It's great.
Mine has mostly been, I just want to fall in bed and go to sleep.
Well, I was towards the end, I'd wake up the next day and it was covered in sweat. Carol would reach over to say, "Hey, are you okay?" And she was like, "Dude, it's slimy."
We got these urgent care clinics.
Yeah. So Dominic, my PM physician, he was calling me up, "Brandon, you okay? Let me prescribe you some medicine." Well, do I need to come visit you? They come to my house and check me out, make sure I was okay, go give me some meds.
That must be nice having a doctor on call.
They do have some over county stuff that will stop the cough, but
Yeah,
after a couple of days, you can take that and knock it out. It's serious. Put it off that every now and then.
we really didn't have to go into any crazy medications or nothing.
Yeah.
I think by the time I was looking for medication, it was like, okay, we're doing Thera flu or something like that, and then we went into amoxicillin and something else, and feel a lot better. I'm starting to feel more like myself now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That means he'll just be back to work full time,
I know.
nonstop.
Just go crazy again here.
Actually, he has 2 weeks of work to make up.
Yeah, I got a lot of work.
He's gonna be running 24 hours.
Mark, you remember the news building, in Middletown? No, yeah, we still working about it, David David. So we talking in Middletown.
You're familiar with the Middletown Journal?
Middletown Journal.
I think we used to bring it there, yeah.
Okay, so it was printed in Middletown, as far back as like the 1930s. And they did a bunch of renovations to the building. They brought in bigger presses and stuff. And I think as far back as maybe 15 years ago, they were still printing in Middletown.
Okay.
Possibly they bought them out and everything went up to stage.
Okay.
And I'm.
Yeah, I've worked there maybe 12 years ago. I started. I worked for about 10 years.
So the building that's in Middletown is significant size, it's like 50 by 200 feet, 3 floors.
I know some ladies that I worked with who were like the old timers, and then I think they came from
They came from there.
and kind of grandfathered in, yeah.
So I own that building then. So I own 8 buildings. So I do commercial. I buy a building, renovate it, and we put them like buy another building, renovate it. So those are my secondary businesses. You know, my primary business is in the radio, which is,
The way they do it, no, right.
there's no town.
That is the old building.
That is the old.
But that's the building.
That's what it used to look like. We ripped out all of those windows and put in some beautiful nice windows now. Second, you see where it's all the concrete in the lower sidewalk level. All of the concrete has been removed and put in some beautiful windows.
I don't see any of the new pictures.
I haven't submitted any of them.
Well, that's probably why I don't see them.
But you know, we had 9 offices redone a few months ago. We are finishing up on renovating 2 banquet halls right now, and there's going to be a shop boutique, a bar, deli. These are pictures. But once you see the new window, it's like a whole.
Oh, it's an entirely new building.
It's sort of different, right? We looked to about
Stop.
You haven't forget on that.
But we talked to several different window companies about putting in new windows, and all but 2 of them actually wanted to square off the arch windows. And no, we wanted to keep the architecture, the architectural feeling of the arch windows, and They weren't cheap, but we got them all redone. We got the cement block removed and put a lot of work into it. And it looks so different now. Entirely. Our two choices right now are sell it and move on to something else as a building, or the other direction is become the property management and actually get a store, a bar deli, banquet hall, and 27 office.
Have you thought of an urgent care?
We're not going
Now, do we scrap the maker idea?
the maker space, we're still like 8,000 square feet of maker space. That's, yeah,
So I support the maker space.
I know you do. Problem is, you don't want to attend the maker space every day.
No, I don't want to be there every day,
You don't want to take care of it. Yeah, we don't there with 3 days a week.
but I would definitely support it. I mean, that would be,
I would too.
yeah. Well, your support would be probably greater than what I could manage to
There's
do.
almost, yeah.
I might be able to support it with a little bit of time,
A lot of
but
time, yeah.
that's about the extent of my support.
Right now, it's got stacks of 2x4s and lights and cables and, you know, a lot of stuff really needs to be organized and cleaned up in there.
Yeah.
But with 2 banquet halls, man, there's gonna be so much work put in there lately. It's about $20,000 for the work, really. Not that much. We repaired all the walls, patched up holes.
Oh, I know you
patched the ceiling,
just
textured all the walls and painted everything.
just looking at the outside, I know you've done a ton of work on that. You've done more work on that building than the
Anybody else has.
2 owners or 3 owners that I know of that building.
Yep.
So the city should just leave you alone, right?
It should be really nice to them.
They should be really nice to you.
I have pictures prior to painting. But I don't have anything showing it. But that's what it looks like on the inside. Yeah.
Wow.
Upstairs. Yeah, wow.
Wow.
That's
Third floor?
that's all, yeah.
Wow.
That's
They need to see. That's amazing.
yeah, you look at it, that's from one end, looking all the way to the other end.
That's the floor that was wavy?
No, this is this smaller room that's on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
But I mean, you look at it and you can see, and yeah, she's a short lady, but there's some big windows.
I want, yeah.
But all the walls patched, textured, and painted. I'm looking great.
Hold that up in front of the thing so I can see it.
Yeah.
Camera's right there.
Yeah.
You can use this one. Or that one. See if I can see that.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
That is actually amazing.
Yep.
I think it makes more impact for people that understood what was going on before. And you know, the amount of work it took to get to this point. And this is just pictures of the upstairs. We've got I have some pictures of the downstairs stuff too, but it's not like with paint.
What are you going to do about the floor that's all wavy?
We're gonna
Tear that up and start over.
we're gonna tear it up, the wavy part. Everybody looks at it and they think that there's cement block underneath of it, but it's not cement block. It's actually wood block.
Yeah.
That's charred, and it's charred because that way it doesn't expand and shrink everything. So we're gonna fill it with the proper wood block again, and then put in cement filler. That way it'll get all the floor to the right level. Then we'll put in hardwood flooring above that.
See, that's the hardwood floor is going to cost a pretty penny too, right?
Yes.
You're just gonna make that, you're going to make that building so desirable, people are going to want to come in there.
Yep. Very nice.
This is second floor, middle floor. And there's a lot of stuff going on. So
You can see where
those
those,
windows are 9 by 9 fill.
so it's not from the outside, but you can get an idea of what he's done to the window.
It's a lot of glass. It's $240,000 worth of windows. And people look at me like I'm crazy. I am. That's why. Cool over there keeps telling everybody.
Right, raise it a little bit beyond crazy, but that's all right.
As far as my money will take me, we're only rolling now. I'm bleeding right now. And we'll be back around. Does anybody want to write a website? I need a website on the hurry for you look at me like no. No.
We were going back that website for the witness thing.
It's on the meeting announcement.
I don't know.
Okay,
Let's see. Master, YouTube.
let's say links.
What did you need to see?
Wix, the link to Wix in the meeting announcement.
Links to the video. It takes me to YouTube,
Yeah,
automation technology.
Should go do it.
Yes, sir. Whoops. Full discussion group.
Yeah, that's it.
There it is. Look at that.
Discussion groups. And forums, yes, that's it. Yeah.
last week I did propose that possibly, and Steve's not here, so I don't know what he's doing, but possibly setting up a Mastodon server for us instead of using the Wix page.
Now, we gotta go through a lot of discussion where that happens.
Yeah,
We have criteria, we spent 6 months.
yeah, we spent a lot of time just messing with Wix.
Is it the space where it's hosted or?
No, it's because I think it fits better with what we're doing.
You know, Steve told me to build 2 servers
I know,
and they're currently online.
I know. And I haven't broached,
A ton of space.
I haven't broached the subject, but I was thinking, you got a server rack and hosting the Mastodon server on your server rack might actually work.
Sure,
Yeah, so we probably have, we have 2 processors, 16 cores per processor, and we are only running 2 virtual machines in it. And we could run probably 8 more virtual machines easily. Thanks to Steve, we have like 250 gigabytes of RAM. Well, yeah. It's a crap ton. It's amazing, really. Where he cleaned up everything, put in hard drives. We still have, I think, 10 more slots available for more hard drives. That's without going outside the server cabinet itself. For,
What do we need to look at?
Okay. Did you use the link in the meeting?
Did I?
Did you use the link in the?
No, I just
in the
went-
meeting announcement, but we wanted to show them how you would normally see it when we're going into it. We don't. We just wanted to know what that they're like.
How to log in remotely. Or like if you have.
You can connect to it. anytime, anywhere, anybody can. If you want to publish something, then you have to set up an account. It's not a big deal. And I said that so you go to right where we do business, not a general, this is Wix. No, this is where we do business only.
That's all I got right now.
Yeah,
But the server and everything is running. There's just nothing there.
and that's why I do it. I'll put stuff in the meeting announcement. No BS. If you want to go to the forum, and that's why I do that. And that's one of my duties here, is to try to. Oh, there, okay, Zoom meeting.
There's the Zoom meeting. It's down in there.
Not the password and be about the first thing and then click connection.
And
We'll
then
take the links. Okay, there we go. And see, that takes you right to where we do business.
well, and that's just the home.
Which is not where I want to go. If you remember, I'm gonna take you where we want to go, because then you spend a half an hour trying to figure out where the part is and we do, what that we use. Sure. Yeah, this is what we use. And you'll see, ESP 32 renewal net optical avoidance was based on. That's Leroy submitted that. Yeah. So anything you find interesting, if I find a camera that I think's cool, I'll throw it in there.
And for some reason, oh, it's a YouTube video, that's why. It's just a video. If inside the virtual meeting, we do text chats, I end up sticking it here. Pretty much in long form, the way it comes out. I just copy and paste it over here. So if there's any links or anything discussed, we can.
Smart remarks. Mine was in there. Windows have been discontinued. The limits guys are allowed into. Yeah.
But that's for everybody, but you know, Art likes going back and looking at some of those links. So anybody can go and look at those.
And it points directly to that area. And any articles that any of the members, and there's various interest here. So if you have an interest here and you want to create an area to exchange information with people, that's where it currently is. We tried Google something or other and it went away. And
Google Plus went away.
Yeah. So this one kind of meets our needs. And within a fixed context, I didn't want, one of my pet peeves is I didn't, and then I'm like a secretary and a goat herder. These guys are smart enough, they can do their own thing. I'm like a goat herder and try to set some standards for. We don't just want a server that somebody puts up and slap our stuff on it and it wanders off or whatever, somebody buys it or it goes away. And like Wix has been good to us. It does 60% of what we would like in general. And it's open and everyone has access, which is high priority and everyone could see it. And it's easy to use and it has a place that you can submit articles to that everyone can see. And it's a relatively easy to use, relatively easy to put links into. And it's nothing that's gonna blowing in the wind and like Google Plus, here it is, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Lasted a year or two.
We should have known Google was going to do that because Google does that all the time. Here's a product. Nope, we're done. Go away. Yeah.
So we'll be working on this. This will be it for a while, and we'll slowly transition. Everybody will have a shot at it, and everybody will have suggestions. And we need to work at how we could implement one that's easy to use, because it's a little cryptic. This one's a little cryptic, yeah.
And no, in fact, I showed up last week, but it was before I got this router, so I was hoping to ask for advice, I would have got a nice place to put a question out there, with you guys recommend or whatever.
Yeah. And that's so. That's in the meeting announcement. So, yeah, I have to get the bricks, but yeah, that's a good one. And do we get notified if there are new articles up there?
If you subscribe to it, you do. I get notified. I get notified anyway, even because I'm not subscribed. I'm an admin. I think you're an admin too, so you probably get notified. You get notifications, don't you, Art, from Wix?
That seems to vary, and I haven't figured out what the rules are. I get some notifications from Wix, that is correct.
Yeah.
I don't think I see all of them.
Yeah, I don't know, I get notifications a lot when I see new posts. But I don't get notifications some other time. I think you're right, it's a little hit or miss.
And I assume that's because somebody's putting stuff on there in different ways.
I would think so.
Keep the dirt out.
Art's talking.
I'm not talking. Leroy, you're making me the bad guy.
I'm trying to. It's trying to make them the bad guys. No, talking. Yes, I think part of the notification system of Wix is hokey at best.
Well, I assumed it was because of people were using it differently, but maybe you're right.
Yeah. I get notified from ATC. ATC has posted something. I'm like, ATC is me. I get notified that I post my own stuff. But I think that's because I'm admin. So I get notified about all of them.
Okay.
One of the things I do, try to write it on the cats and try to let everyone get their input, get their time slot, and also at the same time trying to keep from someone dominating the time. So we're trying to make sure everybody gets a piece of time in here. That's one of my jobs, to try to. Leroy does a lot of the technical work, and a lot of the project work is Leroy doing that.
And by Santa.
And I'm being the secretary and night janitor mainly.
We're down to about 3 minutes.
I think the time. Where am I?
Yeah.
Leroy should keeping the time. Usually he's gone. They're having a good time, and I'm there watching the clock. I'm not going to shave my legs.
Anyway, 8 seconds. Bye, everybody.
And so
I'm sitting at the house. You know, it's a lot easier than going longer. We should be live next week. It's the following week because this month had 5 weeks. So it's the second Wednesday of every month that I need.
we check too, because like if somebody gets the flu, Leroy gets the flu, or somebody gets the flu, we may just call it off. I post the flu rates in there if you know. That's all that, because that's becoming an issue.
Yeah,
and so Ray gets the flu, and you know
that's the caveat to going back to Thursday too. Is if one of us is sick, we will always be virtual, but if me or Jim or Sid, we may not be live.
Yeah.
We may just go virtual.
And last time, the day before Thanksgiving, and, people were having the flu, and we just said, that's the day before Thanksgiving. And people got the flu, we'll call it out, sorry about that. And sometimes we have collateral it usually are, brings a couple of phones against my head, and I do with me, but I ain't used to it.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Just
Get the email now.
Yeah,
You'll be all right. And right in the subject, it'll say in person or virtual or.
and ignore the rest of it, but the.
So, all right, it's 7:00.
And the virtual password is there.
See you later. Bye
Take
all.
care. Bye-bye. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Amazing. I'm keeping track of the time. It's amazing.